now let's go ahead and change the shape of these second two trees. What I envision is having a normal size tree, a tall skinny tree, and a short fat tree. That way, if we use them in the future, you can scale them up or down, but they still maintain that same characteristic. So we'll start with this one on the right, and I'll move it over a little bit. And let's make this kind of a short fat tree. So select the tree and go into edit mode by hitting tab. And let me adjust this so you can see it a little better. Actually, let's switch to the layout view. There we go. And now let me turn on. So it is showing up. Let me pause for a second and fix the screencast of the keys. Sorry about that. I wanted the key shortcuts to show up on the screen. So just to review, we're in layout, we're in edit mode, and we have this tree on the right as the thing that we're editing. Let's start by editing the trunk. So hovering over it, I will hit L, S to scale, Shift Z so it doesn't get any taller. And I'm going to increase its overall thickness like so. So now the tree itself is very thick. Next, let's select one of the clumps of leaves. I'll select this one by hovering over it and hitting L. Let's actually select one face instead. Now scale using proportional edit. So if you've turned this off, here at the top you'll have the proportional edit button, and we're in random there. So select this, scale, and I want to change the shape a little bit. And now I'm just going to grab, stretch that a little bit, hit L to select all of it. I'm going to move the whole thing. Next, I'll hit 7 on the number pad to look at it from the top, and I want to move this clump of leaves forward. Now let's select this clump in the back. Let's hit L to select it all, scale it up, maybe rotate it on the x-axis, R then X, 180 degrees, so it's upside down, so we have a different shape showing. Grab and move it up. Let's see, I still want to make that bigger on the x-axis, so S to scale, X to stretch it on the x-axis. And let's select this little guy that's hiding inside there, L to select what's underneath, grab it, let's move it to the back, and let's scale that up on the y-axis, so S and Y. Then maybe scale it up overall a little bit bigger. I don't like this point sticking out, so I'm just going to rotate it on the z-axis 180 to turn it around. I'm going to move it down so that it lines up with this branch in the back. And let's make a copy of this one, Shift D, and I want to move it over here to connect with this branch. Rotate it on the z-axis 180. Actually, I don't like that. And I'm looking at it from the top by hitting number pad 7. Rotate it this way, maybe move it in a bit. I just want it to look interesting from different angles because we'll rotate this in our scene. Let's see. Now, obviously yours may look different than mine, so you edit yours in whatever way you like. So I'm just going to keep selecting and moving things around until I'm happy with the overall shape. So I like that better on that part. I want to bring this part out, and let's bring this part out. Like I said, yours probably doesn't look exactly like mine, so you just move and adjust until you have what is really fat, but still about the same height as the others. A little bit taller, but overall it's more of a short fat tree in relation to the height or the thickness of the trunk. So let's switch out of object mode into edit mode. Let's select our other tree in the center, and let's make this one really tall and skinny. So let's go into edit mode, and I'm going to switch to wireframe. I'm going to select everything above this bottom part. I want to leave that alone. G to grab, Z for the Z axis, and I'm just going to pull that up so we're stretching out the overall height of it. Now I'll switch to solid view again. L to select the whole trunk, S to scale, Shift Z so it doesn't get any taller. So I want a really skinny trunk, and let's select this part, grab on the Z, and I still have proportional edit on, so I don't really like how that's stretching, so I'm not going to do that. Let's instead select all of it, scale it on the Z axis to make it a bit taller, grab it on the Z axis to move it up, and I'm going to rotate it on the Z axis 180. And it didn't turn, did it? Hang on. I don't like that. Let's do 90. So then, let's see. Let's select this one and scale it larger. Move that up. And I want to make sure these branches are connected. So maybe take both of these, move them down. Maybe move this one up. Select it all. So as I'm working on this, you don't have to follow these steps precisely. Just modify the shape until you're happy with the shape of the tree. The real key, the real goal, is that you want 3 trees that look very different. And right now, these two look a little bit too similar. So I think I'm going to move this over and then move this down. All right, so I'm happy with those at the moment. Next, let's go back to shading. So we've switched to object mode. We have our 3 trees selected. I'm going to select all 3 and duplicate those and move them over to the right. Next, we want to set these 3 up so that the leaves are more of fall colors, reds, oranges, yellows, maybe some browns. Let's make a copy of the tree summer leaf. So make sure that you have the tree leaves for summer selected. It'll show up here. We're going to make a copy of that. So let's change this color so that instead of green, we have a nice deep red. Let's change this so we have a nice yellowish color. That gives us some orange between. And I'm going to slide this to the left. Then hit this plus sign to add a new flag. So I'll move this flag to the right. And I'm going to change the color of this so it's a bit more of a brownish color to show some dying leaves. Now that we have that set up, let's rename this Tree Leaves Fall. And select our next tree. We see Tree Leaf Summer showing here in the material slot. We just want to click and change that to Tree Leaves Fall. Select the next tree, make sure on the Tree Leaves Summer slot, change that to Tree Leaves Fall. And let's play with this so we get a bit more variety of colors. I'm going to temporarily, so you can do this if you want, if you're not happy with it, but I would like for the reds to show up a bit more. The random sometimes doesn't do well getting the extremes, so sometimes you need to pull those into the middle a little bit to get those colors to show up. And I like that much better. So I'm going to delete those extra trees. Now we have a total of 9 trees that we can use in our scene, and we're going to use these in other projects. And Blender has something called the asset library, where if you make something in a file, you can pull it in to Blender in different files. To do that, we have to select each tree And we're going to come here to the outliner, and we'll just start at the top and go down. So select the first tree, right click, and then choose mark as asset. When you do that, you'll see this little stack of books next to it. So it's something that can be accessed later from this file while you're working on another project. Go through with each tree and mark those. I do want to first, before I continue, change these last three trees to tree-fall. Let's name tree-fall dot 000, tree-fall dot 001, and tree-fall dot 002. If you want to name the other one summer, you can, but I think that should be pretty clear when I'm trying to find these files in the future. So continue, right click, mark as asset on all of these trees. So go ahead and save your file, and then we'll start our new project in the next lesson.